When the devil came, he was not red. He was chrome, 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 and he said, come with me. Come, come, come with me. You must go.
Welcome to the Hellas Chrome podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Dyer. This is the longest running supporters group podcast in San Diego. That's right, folks. You have tuned into the original SG pod, now named the Hellas Chrome pod. And we have a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. We have club events. We had a previous club event, and we have events coming up to talk about. We've got a little bit more union news, and we've got some, some complaints. John and I are going to have an airing of grievances. We talked ahead of the show about some things that have really been grinding our gears. So I think we're going to seize the bully pulpit of the Hellas Chrome podcast and just really let her rip. John, can you join me, please, sir, on this fine show? I like your shirt.
I am here. Yes, thank you very much. Got some new merch finally distributed. You're not wearing your shirt tonight, are you? Or can I only see your shoulders?
I mean, I literally just got in from work, so I didn't really have... And I think I haven't done laundry either, so... from Saturday.
Well, that'll do it. I ordered several items, so I have a nice rotation to work through for my shirts. Yeah, super happy to have the new merch in. Shout out to Lydia and the whole merch team for all their work to get the sweatshirts and the shirts that we had in for our original pre-order and pre-sale. And I believe there's some new shirts that are going to be coming available soon. So as soon as we get some more information on that, we'll get that out, and hopefully we'll be rolling out a series of different merch items at different points throughout the year. So if you missed out on some early ones, stay tuned to Discord and our emails so that you don't miss out on the next round of merch items.
So I know that the plan, we talked about having like whatever in the store is like made to order, right? Where like anytime somebody could go in to the Bums Bazaar, order a shirt, and it's like we don't keep it in stock, but then the whoever the vendor will send them the shirt. But we are in the midst of a little bit of website work. I don't know where we are. I know we have maybe some membership abilities have been unlocked on the website. Let's just start there since I brought it up. What is the word on memberships? We're trying to get new members, and before they were going to the website, and there was no way to join. John, can people join the locals now?
They can join the locals now. There was a brief period of time where we closed off memberships, as we said we would at the end of March, for two reasons. One, to set up those season numbers, which those will be we'll be making those available at some point coming forward. We're all a little busy now, but we've got the season numbers set up. And now we've opened memberships back up, but not just our regular memberships or affiliate memberships. We now have our youth memberships ready to go, and they are live. Let me back up. The reason it has taken us so long to set up the youth memberships, since we're doing it differently,
is Taylor is lazy. Taylor, the director of membership, he's just so lazy. He's always just sitting around on the couch, eating cereal and dribbling it on his shirt and like being like, oh, memberships, I'm going to work on the website later. The typical I'll do it later kind of guy. Is that why?
Something like that. No, it's we have realized and wanted to make sure we're doing a good job following both federal and state privacy laws, especially when it comes to minors. And as we dug a little deeper to make sure in order to know what we needed to do this right, we realized we need to make some fundamental changes for how we collect information, how we, do those youth memberships. And frankly, it's been it's been quite a challenge. We had to work with our existing tools that we have and we pay for as part of your membership dues go to support these. And contrary to what Andrew just said, I'd like to give a huge shout out to Taylor because he has been working his butt off behind the scenes, along with Drew with the website stuff, to really make sure we finally pulled off these youth memberships. It's taken a lot longer than we expected, but we have a solution that's up there that's working. We've tested it with several families. And not just Drew. I know Steve gave some input. I know Lydia gave some input. I mean, there's lots of people who helped work to make this solution happen, but the driving force of staying with it this whole time for these last couple months and making sure it happened was Tay. So huge shout out to him. And again, Drew for all the web work that we're doing. So we're in a good place with the website. Website will have some more updates coming, but we're in a good structural place for where we are. We've got our memberships back open. We are, in that sense, fully ready for the May 4th event. And hopefully attract some new members to the locals.
All right. So you heard it. If you're listening and you have not renewed yet, I just want to remind you that we do have a $1 membership tier. We would love to get everybody registered as a member. This helps us plan things, events. It helps us plan for merch buys, inventory. So even if you are not up for the full ride, you don't want the scarf, all that stuff, $1, we can't give them away. You got to pay $1. If we could give them it away, we would, but we can't. It's the way that the business side is structured.
The business side, yes.
$1. Join. We know you're there, and that membership also opens up the merch because, again, of the structure. We can't sell merchandise to the general public. We can sell to members. So that $1 gets you in as a member. It opens up Bums Bazaar to you. It opens up the Discord to you. So you can always
not the Discord, the weekly email.
They don't get in the Discord at the dollar level?
$10 for the Discord.
That's part of the... Ooh, let me write that down.
Yep.
It's for the airing of grievances later. $1 Discord access. Okay. For those listening, I am writing this down on a sticky note. I'm underlining it, and I'm taking it, and I'm sticking it to my monitor. I'm going to bring that up at some point. Okay. Moving on with the podcast and stream. I was telling people to join. Listen, I'm going to get you in Discord. Okay. If you just hang tight, I'll let y'all know. But membership gets you into the Discord, opens up the merch, helps us out along the way. And thanks to the hard work, Taylor got the Captain Crunch out of his beard and got it together. So we're finally ready to go. And please sign up if you've been waiting. You know what? If you're already signed up, here's an idea. Sign up your spouse, sign up your children. That's now possible. That also helps us factor into things like merch buys and stuff. So, in fact, I need to do that myself. Please do. That really helps us out as we are ramping up for next season. And speaking of ramping up,
Can I jump in real quick? Getting your membership now also locks in your season number as we move forward to next year as well. So if we have to prioritize
John, if you explain to people the way this works again, I do not understand.
I've done it about 5 times. I won't do it again.
And I still don't understand it. Listen, folks, join. You get a number. It's going to be a great number. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be the best number you've ever seen. And it'll be your number, and it's going to help you next year somehow. Trust us on this. It will help you. So yes. But we did, I think, get some new members over the weekend. John, I know you were at the supporter rally at Hop Anonymous Brewing Saturday. What was your takeaway from that?
I enjoyed it. It was good. It was disappointing we had a little bit of rain, but it wasn't too bad. Seems like we're getting rain every Saturday lately. But we had quite a few people there. It was good to see so many people from all the different supporter groups, and I think all seven. We had representatives from all seven
Yes.
supporter groups there. We had a lot of people from the locals come by to pick up their new merch. So we had that, and people were wearing it. There was some chants, and I know the SG presidents were out there to give little speeches and take some Q&A from the audience as well. There, um, Riptides were hosting it because they had an event earlier, so they have a beer over at Hopnonymous that it's Mexican lager. I can't remember the name, but if you purchase it, some money goes to the Barrio Logan College Institute, so they got a nice partnership going over there. I heard that a lot of people purchased that lager, so they were able to raise quite a bit of money. But it was good. It was a good evening all the way around. I left pretty much promptly at 9, because as most people know, I'm still not driving, so that's when my ride was showing up. Um,
Right
so
before you
Andrew,
would
did
have
you
been
stay
asked to help
later
put
or
everything away. Very, very convenient. You know what?
very
You're much
convenient?
smarter than me
My
because
ride. Sorry, my
I
ride's here. Gotta
stayed,
go.
and in the pouring rain, we had to pack up everything and all that. So, but I was, of course, happy to help without complaint. But I'm glad you were able to get out of there and stay dry. That's good to know. But
I
yeah,
didn't realize it rained again after I left.
oh man, it started pouring, and of course, only while we were packing up. Then it stopped again. But it was great. One thing about these all supporter rallies, and yes, this was organized by the club, and the club was there. They were doing these terrible things to compromise our independence, like buying us beers and oh my gosh, telling us about how things are going to work out at the academies and stuff, and just hanging out with us. It was really compromised our independence, but we do what we can. Anyway, these you know when we talk about these other supporter groups and we talk about the union, everything is very conceptual and it's all kind of theoretical almost. But when you go and you're hanging out with people, like, and this is the thing that I struggle with to convey to people, it does not feel like seven different groups of people. It is one group. There is
Correct.
not that much separation between the groups. We are all there for the same reasons. We're all there to do the same thing. And it's not, you know, there is a common cause and a common community that is being built. This is really building the foundation of that community is happening at these types of events. So if you are still well, if you're still listening to this and you're not quite on board with being involved with the locals in SCFC, like you're lying to yourself because why else would you be listening to this show? Hello. But anyway, these events are the things that are going to kind of help reinforce the community part of what we do. Hanging out with your fellow soccer fans and talking about their new merch, their new patches, their new stickers. Oh, here's ours. Like all of that great stuff. Everybody's swapping stickers. It's a really good a good time and really fun to talk with people and meet new people and even I think get a few new members.
Yeah, I think we did, as you said, sign up a few members at the event as well. It's hard. Like this is like the longest off season ever, right? That's really what it's kind of like. And we don't have those matches that you described to get together. And these are the closest things we have at the moment. But um, things are going to start ramping up. I'm hearing little birdies in my ear tell me that there should be some soon-ish. That's all I'll say. Some player news coming. But I'm sure we're going to get a lot of different player things across the whole summer, right? Because they have to have a team in place in February. We
Hmm.
have 3 players that have been announced. I can't imagine those are the only ones that are actually signed, just like we experienced with the San Diego Loyal. that sometimes they have to wait for certain approvals or other things before it's official,
Yeah.
even though most things have been signed. Um, so I imagine we are going to start having that roster start to be filled out. We've got one of our sporting directors, so sounds like we're probably going to be getting closer to a coach, right? So all those things should make it feel more real as we're getting closer, and I can only imagine things will ramp up more. And as some of these kind of pseudo alliance council and then front office meetings that we've had, there was one last week, and they shared a lot of potential events that the club would like to help us with as supporters. So there's conversations about those happening. So there's some big things in the works. We'll see how everything plays out. But this kind of goes back to what I feel like we've been talking about since the beginning of April. Like, be ready. Things could kind of pull the trigger in a moment's notice of things to be happen, because we're waiting for all the right pieces to fall in place so it can be officially announced. There's so many spinning plates at the moment. And that's kind of how a lot of these other things are. So as soon as usually one key piece happens, then the rest of it all falls in place and we can finally make the announcement. But I expect some big things from the club and big things from the alliance coming up as we go through the summer.
Yeah. I don't know if you mentioned before the show, before we went on air, that local president Steve Brockhoff might join us again as he did last week. So I was going to try to wait for him, but you know what? I don't know. Nobody told me anything. So therefore, I'm going to plow ahead. You are the second person in the room where it happened. What is the latest on the alliance/union/ what's going on?
I'll do that in a second, but I just want to qualify that I did absolutely say that to Andrew, and it was more because Steve has kind of jumped on the last couple of weeks. He did not tell me he was coming on, so I don't want to make
Okay.
it feel like Steve bailed on us at all.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just thought he might end up joining us as well. So now that I said that, what was your question again, to make sure I answer the correct question?
So I know that there is some movement in the union/alliance space. Where are we right now?
I would say there was some big movement. We have been, as an alliance, when I say we, not necessarily we, the locals, but as an alliance, been trying to, well, let me back up. We did our framework documents last month. So this month really was trying to set the date for our first meeting and have an agenda for that. So we did. We had a meeting yesterday at Fairplay and in the back patio area with representatives from all 7, because that's where we are, 7 SGs. And there's, again, rumors of, a couple more might be knocking on the door here soon. So this is also the importance of making sure we start getting these pieces in place. So
here's the thing. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there, because you brought something up. Listen, there can be an infinite number, theoretically. Well, there's 8 billion people on Earth, but there can be as many supporters groups as there are people. We can all form one person. I could be a supporters group among myself, the one man supporter group. But that does not mean that I will be recognized by the club, that I will be part of the union, that I will be immediately granted the type of access and influence as everybody who has been working on this for a very long time. And I have not been. Not to discourage, I don't want to say discourage people from getting involved, because we are always looking for more people to get involved. Listen, I don't speak for the other supporters groups, but I promise you, each one of them is probably looking for more people to get involved. Nobody gets paid to do this. We are all volunteers. every one of these groups is fully staffed by volunteers. Nobody's getting paid to be in a supporter group or to form a supporter group. It's all volunteer, and we all need help. If you, this is my personal plea to you, if you feel like you have the energy and the wherewithal to start your own supporter group, let me just put it to you, why not join a group that already exists and put that energy into making that group better or more efficient or run more smoothly? We have groups that run the gamut of the supporter culture landscape. You have kind of middle of the road general all-purpose groups. You have a group that is Star Wars focused. You have a military focused group. You have a group that is focused purely on percussion and songs, and really about the unique flavor and atmosphere that we want to bring to the stadium. Um, and you just have a lot of options, and none of these groups are just bursting at the seams with members in April of 2024 that are trying to get involved and help with this process. This is a lot of work. This union stuff we're talking about is a lot of work. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes in the locals, and there's a lot of work going on with the representatives of each of these groups. All of these groups need help. What we don't need are more people saying, well, I got my own group, let me in the door, I want to have my say in this too. That really isn't what we need. And the more cooks you have in the kitchen, the more difficult it is going to be to get this alliance/union over the finish line. There's a lot of things that have to happen before next season, and the longer we wait to solidify how things are going to work in this section and how things are going to work in this alliance, the potential is just there for things to really get derailed. And one of the ways it can get derailed is a lot of new groups trying to barge in the door at the last minute.
Right,
sorry.
so
Go ahead.
Where
were you, John? Where were you? Where were you, John? I'm sorry.
I'm going to push back on a couple of comments there. I think I would say and like I said, I felt yesterday's meeting was wildly successful, because you never know, right? It's your first meeting. I think there's always a little apprehension from all the groups when you're trying to build something of how things are going to take shape, but we really worked through a lot of things and delegated some responsibilities out, and have set a path forward to tackle this, which I think is the best thing we could have done at the meeting. It wasn't just, I know I saw your thing in the Discord talking about doing things, but we laid out some key milestones for certain types of things we want to tackle, and I don't want to go into all the details of it here at the moment, but I thought it was a very, very productive meeting that we had. I would also say, from everybody I know in the group, I don't think there's any one of these leaders who are opposed to people coming into the group who are going to help build it and make it better, whether they come in and join a supporter group that exists or they bring their own. Now, part of kind of establishing, I'll say it, some guardrails about coming in, is to make sure that the people who are coming in are serious about helping, and we want to welcome those people in. We want to create a pathway for those people to be able to come in and join us, but also want to make sure there's some guardrails in case there are people who aren't serious, because I come across people in my various conversations. There's some like, oh, cool, like you can get the cheapest tickets. Like, yeah, I'll form these are my 4 buddies and we're a supporter group and let's come in. And they're not really serious about growing the culture or understanding the culture. They just want the cheap tickets. So in that sense, that's where some of the guardrails are of someone who may just trying to take advantage of the situation. But if you want to participate and be a part of it and learn about it, maybe you don't know about it and you want to learn, as Andrew said, there are existing supporter groups out there, And I would maybe argue part of forming this alliance, hopefully, is to help shine a spotlight on the current supporter groups and help raise awareness that some of these things already exist. You don't have to form your own. You can join one that's already established. And I don't think that message, outside of our hardcore soccer fandom within San Diego, I don't think that message is out there. So if you have some people who are interested, and now we're getting closer and closer to the season, they think, oh, that might be cool to start a supporter group. They might not even be aware. And this is part of the great things about the Chrome Ball Tour and this May 4th event, that some people maybe who are thinking about starting a supporter group, they figure like, oh, there's one that already exists that has a bunch of people that fits me perfectly, and they can just come in and join. You don't have to go through all that. But at the same time, if you want to, and you have a group and you have something to bring and you're willing to help build the section, you will absolutely be welcome.
After
And
the
yes, we
union is formed
understand
and we have
too
and we
many
have a
too
path
many
to
chefs in the
citizen.
kitchen.
Yeah, we need the
is gonna
path to
make it difficult.
citizenship, so to speak.
Right.
But yeah, this is like the kind of thing where perhaps it would be great if the I don't know, the club that we now support made its, I don't know, supporters liaison available for interviews on supporter podcast. That I think would be an incredible conversation to have with a club representative whose job is to liaise with supporter groups, to be on the supporter group podcast and help us get the word out about the supporter culture that is right now being built um, alongside this club, not with the club because we're independent, but alongside, I think is a good way to put it. We are building this alongside SDFC, and I'm just putting it out there. I think it'd be great to have uh, an individual, maybe somebody who used to host this very podcast on here. That'd be cool. That'd be great, and we can talk about it, but until that happens, it's up to us to really get the word out on this stuff. And um, yeah, the alliance is so important for a lot of reasons, but this is one that I think is very important because of how disorganized a section of thousands of people could be if we don't get this right.
Right. And I think to go a little further on one of the things you said, I think one of the benefits of having this alliance, that's really where the partnership takes place with the club. It's at this alliance level. And the clubs maintain, or the SGs maintain, their individual independence. And then that alliance piece is kind of that bridge. That's where we join together all the SGs along with the club to create the awesome game day, match day experience. And that's where the partnership is. But, as we know throughout supporter culture, and there's probably going to be times, they will happen at some point, where there's going to be some conflict, and supporters, either the whole alliance or maybe individual groups, because they are independent, will voice concerns. And that's part of building all this and putting, I guess, our own guardrails in place with our alliance on how we build it, how we structure it to make sure the individual independent SGs can maintain their individuality and independence, but we all agree to come together, stand shoulder to shoulder on match day to provide that match day experience, and use that alliance and that alliance council to negotiate with the club, partner with the club to create those great match day experiences. And right now, I mean, probably this whole year for the most part, it's going to be a bit of a honeymoon phase. They have, in all the meetings that I have been, as someone who is hypercritical of the club in the beginning, I have been nothing but impressed with their level of, I don't want to quite go to say to bending backwards, but of wanting to help do things right by us as supporters. Now,
They
we all
really
know
seem to
to
understand
put my
how
cynic,
important, yeah, the
yeah,
supporter
to put my
is.
cynic hat on, people will say, of course they want to do that because it's great marketing for them. And absolutely it is, right? That is a huge reason why they want to do it. But the people that I've routinely talked to that I hope so many more of our members get to meet, they do know and understand. They want to give this alliance and all the SGs room to breathe, to do their thing and not interfere with it. But just, I mean, not really any different than we experienced with the Loyal. Like,
Mhm.
do your thing. We trust you to go do your thing in there. And as long as that relationship stays, mutually beneficial and cordial, it'll be a great relationship moving forward.
Fireworks just went off all around you when you did that gesture. What an obnoxious company Apple is. My goodness.
Did they? I'm like, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Is
yeah.
it
I don't
like
know if
they did
it goes out
something?
on the stream like that, but yeah, it probably it
Yeah.
must, right? Yeah. And there's I think a marketing element too, but I mean, just for the in stadium atmosphere, like unless you want to be like Vegas and Orange County piping drums over the speakers and bringing in circus acts to you know make an artificial atmosphere, an organ player perhaps. uh the supporter section is key to the game day experience in the stadium. It's the show, right? Like I know the show
Right.
at San Diego State thinks they're the show, but it's the supporter section at soccer matches that's the show, and that's a thing that really gets the whole stadium excited is whenever the supporter section has a great tifo or a great chant or song, something that's funny or whatever. Those little things are what make things so special. And yeah, there's a marketing element as well, but I think the understanding overall is just how important getting this right is, and the commitment from the club to getting that right is really there. And from what I've seen in the meetings I've been a part of, there's nobody from the club is trying to force their will or their desires on us. It's all like, tell us what you need us to do. What do you want from us? It's really been that direction.
Yeah, it really has.
So I do want to pivot just a little bit, because I know there is an event coming up on Monday. I think there's going to be some information in the Discord, but I do want to make people aware that there's going to be a virtual type of a Zoom meeting open to the members of all supporters groups. This is your chance to hear directly from the club yourself, because, of course, not everybody from the SGs have been in these meetings with the club. And here's your chance to kind of put maybe some faces to these names if you don't know these individuals, and to learn a little bit more about what's going on. What can you tell me about Monday's call?
Right. So the club, SDFC, is doing a Forge the Foundation series. And the bigger part of this is there's going to be a handful of representatives from each supporter group, the leadership, basically. It won't necessarily be exactly that. There might be some general members as well, but mostly the leadership of each SG is going to come together on Sunday, the 28th, to discuss match day operations, what it could look like. So, as part of this bigger event that this group eventually is going to do, the culminating activity, the initial stage is Monday's Zoom meeting, which actually is open to anybody who is currently in a supporter group. So a little bit like the Loyal would do their season ticket member meetings once a month. It's going to be, I imagine, some kind of panel format like that, where the club will be sharing some, from what I understand, some restrictions that we have to face. So we have to figure out how we're going to work around those and solicit input from supporters, and they're looking to have this be not just leadership from supporter groups, but any member who is interested in giving input on what the match day experience could look like. They're primarily focusing on 3 areas: pregame, so I'm imagining it's going to include March and tailgating and where they're going to be, because if you are not aware where Snapdragon is right now, over the next decade or so, a lot of the places that are currently parking and available for parking are going to be buildings. They're going to start building in certain places. And our understanding is next year, or maybe late this year, they're already going to start on a couple of the plots that are relatively close to the stadium. So it already is going to limit the availability of tailgating coming into 2025. So they will share some of those things. I want to talk about what do people want for in-game amenities inside the stadium, like in terms of what is being sold, food items, beverage items, those kind of things. And I don't know if there's an option for SDFC to do something a little more than what currently exists in Snapdragon, but I'm sure that's one of the parameters they will share. And the last thing is, what does the supporter section, that north end, actually look like on match day? So if you want to give any input on any of those things, stay tuned. I'll say you don't really need to reach out. We will post something. I imagine it'll be in Discord. This is why we have Discord. I am not sure if it's going to go out on email, but we will probably get the link and the final information. Well, we'll probably get the link very close to the time the meeting's supposed to happen. We should have the time for the meeting over this week at some point once that gets firmed up. But then we probably won't get the link till Monday, and then we will put it in Discord so people will have it and be able to go in, because it's not meant to be a general public activity. This is a member-specific activity so that people can go in if they want to just listen or contribute their thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a good opportunity for everybody. So if you're a member, paid member, at the $10 level, you can get into Discord and get that link whenever it goes live. Of course, the Discord is where the most current information is shared. Now, these restrictions to a certain tiered membership, I think, maybe that's something, that we do down the road, right? But I think at this point in a building phase, maybe that's a discussion to have, is tearing down that barrier to entry, given we are trying to reach as many people as possible. But yeah, John, is everything okay over there? You look very concerned. You look like you got some bad news.
Trying to. Well, I mean, I think dropping the ball on our part. So I'd like to share some news that I'm just checking and doesn't look like it's in Discord, and I thought it was. So we'll have to make a change to that, but we can announce it here. So I'll let you wrap up, and then sorry, I didn't mean to look so confused. I was trying to double check something as you were talking.
Oh no, I was
looking concerned
on the union front. I know you mentioned some conversation in Discord. So the thing that I was reacting to, and I think it warrants conversation here on our show, is the comments coming out of the meeting with the other SGs in the Alliance. Was this open-ended question about whether or not the Alliance should even have a name, like if the thing should be named, not just what the name will be, but if it should be named. Now, I don't know where that is coming from or who that is coming from that doesn't want to name the Alliance, because I don't know, they think that their group is, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know who. I don't care. The Alliance needs a name. I'm just going to say that, period, point blank. The Alliance needs a name. It's another opportunity to come up with something cool, to come up with something that speaks to the culture, to come up with a name that embodies all of the groups, not just the locals, not just the Chavos, not just the Riptides. Everybody together. Who are we together? You know, we already know who we are individually. Nobody's confused about that, but we need to find a united identity. The section, the North End, as we keep calling it. You know why we keep calling it the North End? Because and John, I'm pointing at you folks in these
Yeah.
leadership meetings cannot get get it over the line to have a new name. In fact, the debate at this point is, should it even be named? Now, I understand there's a framework to have a meeting to discuss this, at which point there will be a plan for the next meeting to discuss whatever comes out of that discussion. And eventually, as you go down the tiers of this human centipede of frameworks and meetings, there will be a decision. I guess there'll be a decision at some point. Hopefully, it's before March of 2025 when we're going to have a soccer team and soccer matches. But I just encourage the leaders of these supporter groups, my fellow supporter groups, who are all my friends. You are all my friends. And I am your friend. And as your friend, I am telling you, just fucking do it. Find a name, pick a name. Let's go. Let's get this going. It's March. It's almost it's April. Okay, next month's going to be May, and then guess what? It's June, and there's a whole bunch of months that come after that, and eventually it's going to be March again, and then it's going to be too late. So, my plea to the leaders, and I'm talking directly to all of you, is just fucking do it already. Just do it. Come up with a list of names and vote amongst yourselves. Not everything needs a committee. Not everything needs to be put in front of a council or a subcommittee. This is not the United States Congress. This is not, we do not have partisan gridlock. This is a handful of insane soccer fans who are trying to build something. So let's keep that in perspective and move forward. I am leaning on all of you and pushing all of you. The fire is lit. Let's get this done.
All right. Duly noted.
It's got to have a name. Come
it-
on. Are we going?
it-
Should it even have a name? Oh, let's talk about debate this. Like, really, we're going to debate that?
There will be. I mean, technically, we have a name, right? It's the Alliance. That's what everybody's been. Well, I don't know that everybody's been using. That's what
great
we've been using
name.
a lot.
What a great
on
name.
the document, and this is what I did, and I intentionally chose a bland name, so hopefully we'd pick something else, which was the North End Alliance. But I imagine that will happen because I mean a different name than what we have right now, unless we fully own and are just going to stick with Alliance. But if we don't, a name will happen, whether we pick it or someone else picks it. It's going to be a TV commentator. It'll be our local media. It'll be an opposing SG. A name will come about and it's going to stick, and it won't be by our choosing. So part of this conversation is like, do we want this? Do we want to own it? And at this point, we do. And that's why we're going through the steps. I know
would
you're
say
pushing,
these are not
you want it to
questions.
happen really
These should
fast.
be statements. Not do we
It's
want
going
it,
to
but
happen.
yes, we want it. Yes, we want it. I know.
It-
I'm not.
it's-
So
it's
listen,
gonna happen.
you
It's
guys.
just
I'm not in the chat group. I'm not in there. I'm not in the group chat. I wasn't invited into the group chat. Not my call. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine with it. It's fine. Really. But come on. There are things that are no-brainers. Like there's so like here's my thing. And I'm really going off the rails now. But there are so many like hard things coming up, right? There are a lot of hard conversations yet to be had, right? There is going to be conflict, and we are going to have to come up with some diplomacy and political solutions to the hard things. This is an easy thing. Why make an easy thing hard when there are already hard things that we're going to have to deal with? Let's not make the easy stuff hard. Let's take care of the easy stuff, and move forward. Easy stuff. Let me list it out for you. Easy stuff. Name of the group. Name of the section. Easy stuff. Drawing the line of, okay, if you're not in now, you're going to have to wait until this is established. Let's draw that line before we do have 12 other groups to negotiate this crap with. Okay. You think it's hard with 7? How about with 14? How about 20? Right now, there's nothing to stop that from happening. So, easy things. That's 3 easy things I just gave you. Take it or leave it. But there you go. I'm doing a service, John. Really, you gotta save me. What's next?
I think I will. I think we'll just move on from that. I tell
Let's
you,
move on
and
to
for the
Discord.
audience,
So,
a name is coming. So may not be
that
at
wasn't
Andrew's
even
speed that he would like.
that
or
wasn't even the
process.
thing I was going to complain about on the show. I teased at the beginning that we were going to grind our gears on something, and that wasn't even the thing that I was going to do that on.
So let me do this. Let me get a couple of news items I want to make sure we get out, and then you can do your complaint if you still have energy to do that here at the end.
Oh man,
Okay.
I'm just getting warmed up over
the reason
here.
Andrew had asked me, what feels like 5 minutes ago now, about why I was looking so confused on my camera here, as I was looking at some notes I had for the show and about the Sockers match on Sunday. And unless I'm missing it, I don't think we have posted anything in Discord specifically about the match that is the opportunity to get a free ticket like the last time. And we have some stuff in leadership. That's what I was double checking. And I feel like we've had it in leadership, but it never made it unless I missed it. So just in case it didn't get out in Discord, and we'll make sure it gets out there, hopefully by tomorrow at the latest. So I don't think it'll be up there Tuesday night. So hopefully by Wednesday. There is an opportunity if you have another form, and if you fill out the form by, I believe it's the 19th, which should be Friday, you have the chance to get a free ticket to the Sockers playoff match, home playoff match on Sunday against Chihuahua. So that is a huge match because each of them are defending champions of the last 2 years, and they stand in each other's way, which I believe is the semifinals right now to get to the finals. So it should be a huge match. They'll have the first game on Thursday, I think. Sorry, I have to apologize ahead of time. I'm a little not as prepared as I normally am for the show. I told Andrew we're gonna have to wing it a little bit tonight because
nobody
so
knew
many
until you just
conversations
said
about
it,
this
John.
alliance.
Nobody knew that we didn't do
So-
our homework.
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm grasping at straws right here. So, but I do know there is this opportunity to get a free ticket if you are a supporter group member and if you're in Discord. So we'll make sure that gets posted so you have a chance to get that if you want to attend the match on Sunday. So that's just another opportunity, and this has gone out to the other SGs as well. So I went to the last Sockers home playoff match, and it was great. I got to talk with KB from USG 1-8 for quite a bit and get to know him. But there's gonna be members from all the different supporter groups that are there as well. It's another opportunity for us to kind of get together, be in a soccer environment, start to have those conversations, and start to build those relationships. So that's Sunday. And before I forget, if there's any questions that people have, and I haven't really I feel like I'm doing a terrible job tonight. I haven't checked the chat or anything, so we'll look at that in a second. But we've been talking about for 6 weeks a bonfire on April 20th. A bonfire was decided last night that we're going to postpone it to the summer because
It's
the
too
whole
cold,
reason it
man.
was
It's so cold
planned-
outside right now. I go outside. I'm still wearing a jacket. It's cold.
The whole reason it was planned for the middle of April is because SDFC wasn't having any Chrome Ball tours in April. April was a wide open month. Nothing was happening. So we thought, let's get together just as SGs. And Nick Duffy was the one who proposed it. We started getting on the books. And then all of a sudden, we're having event after event after event after event coming, and everybody just felt like it was too much right now to squeeze in another thing if they're going to go to the soccer's match and the Zoom, just too many things back to back. So we decided it would be better to push that opportunity to get together till maybe the summer. So no bonfire on Saturday coming up. Check Discord. Should be up by Wednesday for the opportunity to get a free ticket to the soccer's match if you want to go. So that information should be up there. And then the Zoom meeting on Monday. So those are, I think, the three big things we wanted to make sure we got out on this podcast.
So that's, I was thinking about bonfires, and you know how long it takes to get the smoke smell out of your clothes after going to a bonfire? Like, it just sticks and sticks and sticks. So maybe it's good news for some people. It's good news for me, because, the jackets and hoodies, they really hang on to that smoky smell. So, uh, you know, there are a lot of chances to get together with your supporter community. The soccer's match is a great one. It's a lot of fun. I, of course, am going to be out of town, but um, it is a lot of fun, and everybody involved in supporting soccer's is also involved in some way with the other all the SGs we've been talking about. So get out there and support if you can. More information, of course, will first be shared in Discord. Now, this is something I wanted to mention because I noticed, and I have to apologize personally to the locals community, is I used to be much more active on Discord. I realized, I posted something the other day, and I was like, I don't think I've posted anything in Discord for quite a while. And the reason is, since I joined the leadership, so I don't know if people care, but this is a little bit sausage making, but
Getting into the weeds.
the locals leadership communicate via Slack, which is a completely different app than Discord. So now that I'm on leadership, along with the rest of the members of leadership, when I want to talk about SG stuff, I find myself opening Slack and talking about it with the other members of leadership. And everybody on Discord is just out in the wind, because guess what? I'm not the only member of leadership that is only talking about supporter group stuff in leadership channels on Slack. Completely isolated, not just siloed in like locked Slack channels, but not in locked Discord channels, but on a completely different app. So I'm not even opening Discord to communicate like SG stuff. And so if I want to go down and talk with the proletariat, the average everyday local, I have to open a completely different app and catch up on conversations I haven't even been a part of. And I think that's sad. I think that my experience, maybe, potentially, possibly mirrors that of other members of leadership who might otherwise be more engaged with our locals community on Discord if they were using Discord to communicate with leadership. So, maybe there's a conversation to be had about leadership only using Discord, taking the channels from Slack and doing that on Discord instead. Listen, I'm brand new here. I just got here. I know it's been 4 years with the locals. I don't know how things went before. I don't know if anybody ever thought of this, or if I'm just so freaking smart. I'm the first person to come up with it. But I think that leadership of the locals should be more engaged with the members of the locals that are using Discord to talk local stuff. And as long as we are on a completely different app, then it is going to push our eyeballs and our attention onto a navel-gazing leadership chat where we're not even engaging with the membership. And we get on this show every week and we tell people to get on Discord. That's where these conversations are happening. That's where news is passed down, blah, blah, blah. But then we're not even using the Discord. So that is the grind my gear segment that I tease at the beginning of the show. John, I'm interested in your thoughts on this.
Yeah, we talked about this before the show, and I hadn't really thought about it because, frankly, I've been incredibly busy. But as we were talking, I realize I have not been on. You know when I'm on Discord to prep for the podcast on Tuesday, I'm hardly on Discord in between there. I might poke in here and there, but yeah, I am in our Slack channels and chat a whole lot more. And someone who's been on leadership a little longer than you have, I see the difference between last year to this year. There is more conversation happening in Slack. We have the alliance stuff, and there's communication going back and forth, and there's some behind the scenes stuff, but there's more of those communications that are happening than we've necessarily had before. So that's monopolizing our time. And you're right, we're not getting into Discord probably the way we should. I think that is it made me stop and think, and I feel the same. I am not engaged in Discord. Well, I mean, truth be told, I don't post very often in Discord anyway, but I'm more of a Discord voyeur. I'm always reading and conversations, but I haven't been as much because my time has been spent in Slack, and that yeah, you made me think about it when we had our conversation before the show, and maybe that's something as leaders we need to think about. And maybe we don't get rid of Slack altogether, but maybe a big chunk of the stuff that we are talking about things can be shifted to lock channels in Discord, so it's easy to jump around and see some of the other conversations and jump in and participate and share information.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we need to take a hard look at that.
I think there's
Because
something
I don't think
too.
we're modeling what we're asking other people to do.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and there's something about, if you are opening one app to do one thing, and this is how apps work, right? They want you to stay in the app, and then if you're opening Discord to do your leadership chats and stuff, then you're more likely to, oh, there's a new post in the random channel. I enjoy the random channel because I like talking about video games. I'm gonna read the latest post. I think it just creates more opportunities to engage with the locals community that is outside of leadership. Obviously, we are all engaged with each other constantly because of the work we're doing, but you know, I maybe this is a me problem. I feel bad not being more active on Discord because I definitely used to be.
right. Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I think when I think about it and I go in there, I almost never see anybody from leadership post. Very rarely, not like it used to be. And
Mhm.
I think that is a product of how busy we are, and that busyness has been shifted more and more to Slack and away from Discord. And in doing so, it is taken us away from the rest of the locals community. But yeah, I think that's an excellent point that we probably should talk about. Figure out how we can improve the situation,
Yeah,
because I do
here we
feel like
are
there's a bit of a disconnect there.
breaking ground on the Hellas Chrome podcast week to week. You get the latest news. You get to hear all of the gripes, and then you get to hear solutions oriented conversations. Thank you, everybody who tunes in to this live stream every week. We really do appreciate you. We appreciate everybody commenting, and everybody who maybe on Wednesday morning downloads and listens next day, which is the way I used to consume the show. I appreciate all of you as well. John, before we get out of here, is there anything we didn't talk about that you have a burning desire to share with everyone?
Well, if I had actually done the rundown and I had my full list in front of me as I check things off, I would know the answer to that question.
Let's talk. Let's give one shout out. He's one of our own, U.S. Youth National Team goalkeeper Duran Fari, the first signing of SDFC, currently on loan to Orange County SC, former Loyal Select and Loyal goalkeeper, got the start Saturday in San Antonio, a perennial power in USL. Duran Free gets the start, gets the clean sheet.
And
OC wins the match. Huge shout out to Duran for a great game and for his success. Everybody is rooting for you, and it just great moment, I'm sure.
yeah, excellent shout out there.
All right. Well, next week we will be back, and we will bring you the latest on see where things get from here. I don't know if we have any major meetings between now and then, but we should have a little bit more on Chromeball, maybe some more information about merch options to come. I know there's a lot of conversation in the merch committee about what's coming up for May 4th. So yeah, come and join us next week. I think next week is that the last show before? I don't want to say that before May 4th. Maybe it is. Maybe
no, there will be one more. We got 2 more shows before May 4th.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week, regardless. However many days or weeks there are, we're going to be here on Tuesday night. So thanks, everybody.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
When the dust came, he was not red.